It's been at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. I can't remember. And yeah, went to work. I made more sales for them than I ever did for me.
I had merchandise on order because it hasn't come in yet. I had to give them $46,000 worth of sales.
Really?
Couldn't figure out how to get out of it, but because they hadn't received the merchandise and all paid for.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to deliver it. You're not. So.
Because of the distance.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to get to do it, but I couldn't figure it out.
The Band-Aid was moved in.
Well,
terrible.
you should have just got the sales and get the money from the sale.
I did
My
get the money,
daughters
except
have
but we don't have the
so I'm
merchandise.
gonna wear a mask in case I can-
It's on order or back
I think
order.
that's what-
I think we're close enough, guys.
It's pretty sticky, actually.
I'll bring this meeting to order and please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you all for coming. 5 of you. Conflict of interest. Do any of the commissioners have conflict of interest?
No more.
No more, no more, no more. Okay. Public comments. This is a time for public comments. Commissioners may ask questions, but take no action during the public comment section of the meeting, except to direct staff to prepare a report or replace an item on the future agenda. If you are here to make comments on a specific agenda item, please speak at that time. If not, this is the time. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Speakers, please state your name, mailing address, so the city staff can respond to you in regard to that comment or provide you with information if appropriate. You are not required to state your name and address if you do not desire to do so. Discussion, possible action, consideration of proposed categorical exemption and tentative parcel map to allow the construction of a proposed Arby's fast food drive-through on 1.05 acres of 44.22 acre parcel. Property location 1899 Fort Jones Road, Yreka, California. M1 light industrial zone 1 industrial general plan designation assessor spots parcel number 062-161-270. Staff report.
Commissioner Olin, commissioners. This is a simple parcel map creating a single parcel with a remainder. You've got a fabulously detailed staff report that was prepared by our planners from eCorp. We have Scott Friend, our planner, and Megan on the Zoom call with us. At this time, I would request that you open the public hearing. The applicants are here in the audience to answer any questions, and we have another person in attendance. So if you could open up the public hearing. A public hearing notice was advertised and letters were sent out within the 300-foot radius. To this, as of today, we have not received any comments.
Oh,
so
okay.
Staff has reviewed the application and we are recommending approval as submitted.
Public comments are now, our public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak may come up to the microphone.
My name is Michael Quinn and I'm a neighbor. So I got the 300-foot left. I have nothing against an RVs, but when I looked, it looked like it's right at the corner of Hudson Road and Highway 3. Is that where? Oh,
yeah.
No comment. Happy to have it down there.
Liz, I think you can give him some clarification on. Okay.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Mark McKechnie. I'm with Oregon Architecture, so don't know what that means. We just across the border, like you guys do. So Anyway, staff has done an excellent job on putting this thing together. The lot partition is fairly simple. The developers have taken over the whole parcel, so they've got big plans for the rest of it that will be coming to you over the years. And this is kind of the first step. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have about either the kind of the plat or the parties, as that comes up. We'll see that in another month for the conditional use permit.
I had one question.
Yeah.
About the proposed restaurant. I was looking at the hours of operation, Monday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Is the restaurant closed on Sundays?
No.
Oh, you don't have hours for, it says Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. So Sunday's missing.
Yeah, that should be Sunday through Thursday.
Oh, it's Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up, but you.
Well, for whatever it's worth, this is way easier than actually. So.
Well, I do have a question.
Oh, yeah.
The whole parcel, you're only going to use one little square lot next to AutoZone for Arby's.
Yes.
Any future plans for the progression of property?
There is.
Curious.
Yeah, no, there are plans to subdivide ultimately the whole parcel. It's going to be a mix of different kinds of uses. You know, without committing to anything in particular, but they're looking at housing in like the Western Third, and some more things along Route 3. Got a big parcel in the middle. They're trying to figure out something, maybe a hotel or two, or whatever is interest, whatever kind of interest is sparked by Yreka.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's a huge lot.
You didn't have to share that, but I really appreciate it.
I have a question for you. As that's being developed, you know, are they gonna widen that highway from across that South Main coming down all the way? You know, if they're gonna widen that?
well, actually, that's probably a better question to ask your planners, because Caltrans does have an upgrade already in the works for Route 3.
But it's not being upgraded on for the Arby's, widen it in through there at all?
It's 3 lanes, there's a center.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I think the whole highway itself is going to be wider. Isn't that what Caltrans was saying for their major refund?
Well, it's going to be repaved.
Yeah, from the ground up. But I thought they were working on the sidewalks to put in bike lanes.
So, right, at this location, I don't believe that there are going to be differences in the lane designation for what you see currently. But you're right, in other parts of town, there's 4 lanes right now, and those will go to 1 lane in each direction with bike lane. And bigger sidewalks.
Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners?
I have a comment on like a direction I'd like to take this. That end of town, I don't.
This is public comment. If there are none, public hearing is closed.
All right. So I think with the progression of how Yreka has spread out with their industry, I don't think an industrial zone is going to be taking over that area of town. And I think we should consider rezoning that whole area around the Walmart.
Yeah,
No, it's just, is that a direction we can put on a future agenda? Because I think that's a direction that development is going to be happening.
So I guess my comment would be that currently the industrial zone provides for a great number of uses with a conditional use permit, all the way from what you see out there now, which is basically highway retail, to commercial, to even residential, again with a conditional use permit. It's probably our most flexible zone. We had some concerns in the past that people were overlooking this site for future commercial development because of its industrial designation. So if you're just looking on a map, you'd say, oh, gee, that might not work.
And that was what I was thinking of.
Right, but now we have someone that purposely has purchased the land with the intention of developing essentially in different zones as they were pointing out, where there could be housing in the back that would fit in with between the college and the rest of it. Obviously, no specifics at this point. So we're not necessarily seeing that rezoning it and going through all of that for industrial is as important as working with the developer on a long-term development plan that really works for the city of Yreka.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Decision time, commissioners. Any other discussion? I will say that is great property.
I'd make a motion, but I can't find them.
Oh, I saw one.
You did, first page of the agenda, it's to adopt the resolution.
Oh, just right there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, I move to adopt the Planning Commission resolution number 2021. Not on mine.
Yes, down below.
That's why she's spelling it.
Okay. Approval of the tentative parcel map permit number 2021-26 at 1899 Fort Jones Road, 062-161-270.
This is Scott on the mythical TV there. Can I maybe ask the Planning Commission if you would make the motion that's actually right above, it's on the last page of the staff report, not on the agenda. There's a motion completely written out for you. I think it's important in this particular case to read the categorical exemption into your motion. It's right above the section that says attachments on the very last page before the first one.
Back to the red.
Yeah, back to the next red
thing, then go forward. It's like 4 pages. Nope.
There's one right after the red.
Right after the red?
Yeah, I can read it. I've got it.
Go ahead.
I make a motion for use permit CUP number 2021.
Oh, no. It starts with.
Page with the signature. Was
just there.
So I make the motion.
As you like.
I move that the Planning Commission determine that the project to be categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA section 15061 B3 and section 15315 minor land subdivision class 15, and adopt Planning Commission resolution PC number 2021-4 approving tentative parcel map number 2021-26 as presented herein.
I'll second.
I can't make the motion either.
I think Matt just say so moved.
So moved.
I'll second.
We finally have a motion that works and a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Announcement. Public hearing and consideration. Oh, wait a moment here. Announcement of public hearing and consideration of the conditional use permit or application for The Arby's project has been continued to July 21st, 2021. Next is informational only status report on CA-HCD SB2 grant and local early action planning called LEAP grant. We have a PowerPoint presentation by eCorp. Where?
Yeah, I think that Scott will be taking over the screen here shortly.
I can introduce one of our associates, Megan. Megan's going to go through the PowerPoint. I am trusting in technology here. And Liz, do you have the PowerPoint that you can project?
We do. Kim's got it on the laptop up there. She can also share the screen if Megan wants to run it from there.
That would be excellent.
What do you want us to do?
I think it'd be easier if you could do it. And I'll just tell you when to move on through slides.
Get the slides up.
Okay, we're getting getting some feedback. Are both of you in the same room with your microphones on?
No, we are not.
Okay. Okay, it's on our side? Okay.
There we go.
Are we ready? I can't see the screen.
You didn't share screen.
Share
You gotta
that
share your
screen.
screen, Kim.
I don't have that capability. It says I have to be allowed to do that. But if you can present it up there and I'll just tell you when to click through the slides.
Do you want a hand, Kim?
Oh, so you have I see the share screen up in the upper left right hand corner.
Let the techie go up.
Yeah, that screen right there is where you want to hit share. You might need to restart it because you don't have a desktop option.
One participant share at a time, multiple can share. Is that what I want?
You want to just close it because right now it wants to open up your Outlook and see if it will open up PowerPoint. Now hit it again.
I do the share.
Yep. And there's your PowerPoint. Click that. There you go. Now they see it. And then you can just hit present at the top and they'll see it.
Do you see it now, Megan? For a second.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Do you know how to hit present on there, Kim? You're gonna at the top right. You're gonna hit present.
Right.
Near the top right on the actual PowerPoint thing.
Yeah,
that way
yeah, go help her.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
After a year of online.
Okay, so.
So I'm going to retire and learn all this stuff.
Come back and charge us a lot of money.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I didn't bother to learn any of it, but I've gone through quite a few of it, so I know to share a screen and, you know.
Hey, Liz, I don't mean to jump in here, but just hit the little screen icon in the bottom right. Right by the slider bar, just hit the little screen.
10-year-olds are okay.
Yep.
Nope, bottom right.
Thank God I don't have to do it.
Okay. Can you see it, Megan?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Only changes every 5 minutes.
Okay.
For sure, yeah. Boy, the casinos are not nice. Don't go out there.
Tell me about it. I went to Reno this weekend thinking that'd be better, but it wasn't.
Okay, so we're ready for it?
Are we ready?
Let the show begin.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Rupard, and I am an assistant planner with E4. This presentation, I'm going to give you a brief overview of our proposed general plan amendments as part of the LEAP grant project. So you can go to the next slide now. Oh, sorry, the one previous to that. All right, so in early 2020, the Department of Housing and Community Development established the Local Early Action Planning Grant Program, also known as LEAP, with the goal of increasing the availability of affordable housing statewide. LEAP provides one-time grant funding to cities and counties to update their planning documents and implement process improvements that will facilitate the acceleration of housing production. Yreka was awarded $65,000 in total with the LEAP grant funds, which is the maximum amount for a jurisdiction of its size. And with this grant money, the city has plans to complete multiple projects, all with the goal of increasing affordable housing. And for this project, approximately $36,550 has been allocated to updating parts of the general plan based on the recent legislation that has come out. So the deadline to spend the funds is 2023, but we will definitely be done with the project before then. Next slide, please. So this slide presents a brief overview of each of the new legislation that I'm going to be going over, and this shows you how we'll be integrating it into the general plan. So we're just making amendments to the circulation element and the safety element. Next slide, please. So there have been two recent bills requiring updates to the circulation element. AB 1358, which is also known as the California Complete Street Acts of 2008, now requires circulation elements in the state of California to plan for a balanced multimodal transportation network that meets the needs of all roadway users. So this means you need to plan for a roadway network that consists of complete streets, which are designed to serve all users of streets, roads, and highways, regardless of their age or ability, or whether they are driving, walking, cycling, or taking transit. So in response to AB 1358, we are proposing the addition of a short narrative section in the circulation element that explains the concept of complete streets, as well as new policies that will facilitate the planning of complete streets within the context of Yreka's roadway system. So SB 743 has altered how transportation impacts from new development are measured under the California Environmental Quality Act, also known as CEQA. In the past, transportation impacts were measured using level of service, which assigns a letter grade to intersections, and it was based on automobile delay. SB 7043 will shift the measure from LOS to VMT, or vehicle miles traveled. And VMT is intended to promote the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions through reduced vehicle trips traveled, while encouraging development of multimodal transportation networks and a diversity of land uses. So instead of assigning a letter grade to each intersection based on automobile delay, VMT will now measure the total number of vehicle miles traveled based on trips generated from a given project. So as part of the circulation element update, we are in the process of developing a methodology to address project impacts to transportation as they relate to VMT. Next slide, please. Next up is the safety element, which is where the bulk of the proposed amendments will be inserted. SB 1241 requires the safety element to include information and maps on areas of the city labeled as very high fire hazard severity zones by CAL FIRE. So along with that, we're going to be proposing a map into the general plan and some policies that have to do with limiting development in zones labeled very high fire hazard severity. And SB 1035 now requires local government to review and update fire, flood, and seismic and climate portions of the safety element at least every 8 years. Next slide, please. So as part of those two bills, what we're proposing is an addition of maps that will illustrate fire hazard zones, flood zones, dam inundation from Greenhorn Dam, seismic hazards, and also wildfire protection and flood protection responsibility areas, federal, state, and local. We're going to be including information about potential fire, flood, and geological hazards. We're going to include information on past fire and flood events, and also some new road width standards and clearances around structures, and policies regarding development in fire hazard severity zones and flood zones. Next slide. So AB 747 and SB 99 both require information regarding evacuation routes. At AB S47 requires the city to identify evacuation routes that could be used in any emergency situation. And SB 99 requires a safety element to identify residential developments and hazard areas that do not have at least 2 points of emergency access. So as part of the update, we are proposing designated evacuation routes out of the city, as well as a program to identify residential developments without adequate emergency access. Next slide, please. Next, we have two bills regarding, or one bill regarding climate adaptation and one about environmental justice. SB 379 requires a safety element to identify the risk that climate change poses to Yreka and to include related adaptation policies and objectives. And to do this, we are working on developing a vulnerability assessment that identifies the risks that climate change poses to the local jurisdiction using information from federal, state, and local agencies. SB 1000 now requires cities and counties that have disadvantaged communities to incorporate environmental justice policies into their general plans, either in a separate element or by integrating these goals into related elements. The purpose of this legislation is to address the unique or compounded health risks in disadvantaged communities by decreasing pollution exposure, increasing community assets, and improving overall health. For the purposes of SB 1000, disadvantaged communities means an area identified by the California Environmental Protection Agency pursuant to Section 39711 of the Health and Safety Code.
Froze for a second.
And other hazards that can lead to negative health effects, exposure, or environmental degradation. While at this time, we have not identified specific disadvantaged communities within Yreka, we are still choosing to include environmental justice policies in the draft general plan update in an effort to reduce pollution exposure and promote better food access, healthier homes, improved air quality, and physical activity in local communities, and to benefit the city as a whole. We believe it's still important to continually consider the effects of planning and land use decisions on the lives of residents and ensure that no area or population is disproportionately affected. Next slide. So this slide, again, is just the overview slide that shows all of the new legislation and how we're going to be integrating it. And with that, that concludes my brief overview. Thank you for listening.
Before Liz or Steve chat, I want to just maybe tell you a little bit about, why does this matter to you? We have the opportunity to be serving as staff planners to a number of communities. And when we talk to communities about all the fun things that happened in Sacramento and all the things you now get to do, I get a lot of eye rolls and head nods and, oh my gosh, those crazy people in Sacramento. And so the reason why, though, all of this matters is because being able to have a compliant general plan, and in particular a safety element, opens up the opportunity for the city to both apply for grants that it would normally not be able to apply for, And when you have a valid safety element, you also are eligible for an enhanced level of state, I call it insurance, but if a natural emergency happened in your community, if you have a compliant general plan and safety element, the state actually picks up the city's share of the cost of the paying back to the community, the city share of a natural disaster. That could be to the tune of millions of dollars. So when we talk to city councils about this, I try to impress upon them that it's less about just fancy planning ideas, and there's some real practical implications of making sure you do this. And I would conclude simply by saying, you know, I've never I've never come into a situation whereby the people in the Capitol in Sacramento didn't do more. And I love being able to use their money to comply with their laws. So getting these grants was great for the city because it's not using your general fund money. You've got roads, you've got other priorities, you've got infrastructure you need to deal with, but it is really important to get these done. So I know that's kind of not the glorious, fun topic we all want to talk about, but it is very important. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Scott and Megan.
Well,
Am I supposed to?
Oh, you don't do that.
I think it was for you guys for a quote for system here.
Yep.
You have any questions for Scott and Megan before they leave the meeting?
Nope.
Oh, I think he did a pretty good job of explaining what this is for.
With that, I will make my parting comments then, and that is to say congratulations to Mr. Baker. I was going to make a little Barb remark at the beginning and I missed my chance there, so I'll do it now. And that is thank you for the opportunity to work in Yreka. And it's been a pleasure and we wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Scott. I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, Scott, for the presentation. Let's see, where are we? Here we are. Discussion, possible action, approval of minutes of the regular meeting held May 19th, 2021. I'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion, we approve the minutes that date.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. City manager's last report.
So,
Cannon, boom.
the first important part is that, Brandon.
The brownies.
Feel free to partake. There are napkins and plates here. And, I appreciate that people know how I celebrate things. Yeah,
I forgot the candles.
No.
Oh, you've been doing it just about once a month.
Well, now, somebody told me that